Hey, what's up everyone? This is Jorge from the Music Majors, and this is the album rollout tutorial, how to get the most out of your EP, single, mixtape, or album. So the objective here is for me to show you what to do before, during, and after the release of a single EP, mixtape, or album in order to maximize your earnings. And that's really the key here, maximizing your earning potential. Alright, so let's get right into it. The pre-release, subtitled Building Anticipation. So this whole thing is about building anticipation. First bullet point, you want to have a release date. Having a release date keeps you on track. Make sure that you have your album at least 95% finished to avoid release setbacks. So if you've ever heard about an artist who was supposed to drop or release an album on a certain date and then they had to set it back, it kind of what that does, it makes the project lose steam, anticipation. So you want to make sure that you're really strict about staying on track and on schedule. Next, you want to pick a single. What this is a song to promote your the release of your album. Make sure that you have a music video and visuals to go along with it. Now, with picking a single, you want to give it enough time to kind of build the buzz and grow, but you don't want it to be out for too long if it has no traction. So a good rule of thumb is maybe give it between 6 to 8 weeks to kind of build and grow. And while it's out, it's your job to kind of keep track of how it's doing. Is it grabbing people's attention? Is it building any buzz at all? And once again, the single is just kind of meant to promote the release of your album and building that anticipation. All right, next bullet point, I have document everything. So photos and videos of studio sessions, photo shoots, video shoots, a day in the life, live performances, shows, all that stuff. A lot of times as creatives, we do a lot of interesting things that we don't even think twice about, such as writing, the writing process, the recording process. And those are all things that are very interesting to non-creatives. You know, whenever you can give your audience an opportunity to see behind the scenes, it gives a sense of exclusivity. It gives a sense of, ooh, I'm seeing something that not everyone gets to see. So come up with different ideas of what you can be documenting, and just document as much as you possibly can. The more content that you have, the more it's going to help you later on. And then the last bullet point that I have here is perform live. So do free public shows, stream live on social media, and do random pop-ups. So before your album releases, doing these public shows and these live streams and all this stuff, you can use those as opportunities to promote the release of your album and build that anticipation and hype. All right, so let's move on to the actual release. And I have here underneath a release, it says marketing strategy. So this is all about having a strategy to kind of maximize your release. So first bullet point, music distribution. This is very important. Find a distributor such as DistroKid or TuneCore to send your music out to all major platforms. So what is a music distributor? Is basically a platform or a company that sends your music out and puts it on Google Play, iTunes Music, iTunes, Spotify, all that stuff. I will say that you want to make sure that you do this with at least a couple weeks before your actual release date, because it does take them, I know for DistroKid it takes them at least a week to kind of get all your music out, but they do have it so you can schedule the actual release date and all that. You just have to make sure you give them enough time to actually do it. So I would start looking into music distribution maybe about a month before the actual release date. Next, we have a media strategy, and underneath of that I have set up interviews with blogs, podcasts, radio shows to build awareness. So a lot of times with media, when we think of media, we think of like the big shows like the Joe Rogan podcast or the Joe Budden podcast, or major TV networks such as BET, MTV, VH1. But you don't if you can get an interview with one of those major media platforms, that's incredible, that's unbelievable. But we don't always necessarily need to do that. There are a ton of smaller blogs, smaller podcasts, smaller radio shows that are looking to build an audience and are looking for content, and those are perfect to reach out to, and you can build awareness through their fan base, and they can get content through your story. So it works both ways. I would do some research there on social media. There are a lot of times on social media, such as Instagram and Twitter. Reach out to them and try to get on as many of these blogs and podcasts and online radio shows as you possibly can. The more, the better. Next, I have content. So we record on the pre-release. I had you I talked about documenting everything. Now you're going to take all that stuff you documented and you're going to use it as content. And the key here for content is you want to release on a consistent basis to build hype around your project. So consistent basis is the key. A lot of times what an artist will do is they'll record a music video, put it out, and then nothing happens. And it makes the project lose track and hype. You know, people lose interest quickly. If you just release a music video and don't follow it up with anything, people tend to forget about it relatively quickly. So releasing content on a consistent basis is really the key here. So yes, drop that music video, then follow it up with behind the scenes photos, behind the scene interviews with the photographer, with the people in the video, with yourself. Follow it up with behind the scenes of how you put the whole thing together, and just make sure that you're consistently providing content. The more content, the better. Next, plan an album release party. The album release party builds sensationalism and social proof. So sensationalism is just a fancy word for creating excitement or around your project. And this is what we want to create excitement. And social proof is just another way of saying that this is a way of kind of making you seem more legitimate, or kind of giving you that stamp of approval. To a certain degree, these type of things are kind of superficial, but if we're thinking about it from a marketing standpoint, they're important in regards to the visual aspect of things and perception. So definitely plan for an album release party, and once again, document it. Collaborations, I have here collaborate with other artists and producers for exposure to their fan bases. So from a producer standpoint of view, this is an easy one because you're already using production for your music. So just reach out to some of these producers. Some of them have relatively large fan bases and followings. Reach out to them and let them know, hey, I recorded to your track. Let's do a live stream and you can listen to the track and we can talk about it. And now you're being exposed to their fan base. Same thing with different artists. Reach out to different artists, collaborate on their songs. I remember about 10 years ago, Lil Wayne was on everybody's song. Same thing with Kendrick Lamar a couple years ago. He was just collaborating with every single artist. He had a song with Taylor Swift, etc., etc. So collaboration is a good way of kind of taking from different people's fan bases and exposing them to what you're doing. So collaboration. All right, let's move on to generating income. So this is a big one. And here I have a chart generating income. And really the way this chart works is what we ultimately want to land on is collecting emails and cell phone numbers. But first, let's start over here on the left. So let's work our way from left to right and see how this works. So the first thing is content. And I have up here, create interesting points of conversation and create enough content to release between 10 to 20 pieces a day. So the key here is making sure your content is interesting and releasing a lot of content every single day. The more content you put out, the better idea you'll get as to what is good and what isn't interesting. All right. The next portion of this is media. And I have here, be consistent in posting content every day on your social media platforms, gauge engagement and analytics. So once again, back to this point of being consistent. I can't stress that enough. This is what separates the people with large followings versus the people that have very small followings, is that consistency. And in the beginning, when you're first building a buzz, you might not get that much engagement. You might only get 5 likes, 10 likes. You might not get any likes. But the more consistent that you post, the better idea you'll get of what works, what type of content works, what type of content doesn't work, and eventually through time, your social media and fan base and engagement will grow. So part of seeing what works and what doesn't work is looking at analytics and your engagement. So are people commenting? Are people hitting like on your content? And then looking at analytics. So in Instagram, for example, you can view insights and see what time of day are people getting on Instagram, what content do they like the most, etc., etc. So studying all those things is really important. All right, so once you have your content and you're on a consistent release schedule, we want to use these things to create traffic that's eventually going to lead us to send people to our website. So content and media are going to create traffic, but how you can enhance traffic, so getting more traffic, even more traffic, is by utilizing free and paid methods of advertising to send traffic to your website. So let me talk about a couple free methods. The first method that I would start with is just commenting on other people's content. So engaging in the community, just commenting on people's content. And when I say commenting, I don't mean going on other people's pages and telling them, hey, check out my music. I mean just commenting, building relationships with people. Eventually, over time, if you're interesting, they'll check you out and they'll organically find learn about what you're doing. So hitting people up, to make it a little bit more targeted and make this process go a little bit faster, I would hit up people in the music industry. So there's thousands and thousands of up and coming producers out there. I would hit them up. There are thousands of artists on the come up just like you. I would hit them up, build relationships with them, and kind of just support each other. The next thing, and here's a challenge for that before I move on. I would make it a priority to, at the very minimum, connect with 100 people a day. And if you want to take that to the next level, so comment and DM at least 100 people on Instagram, 100 people on YouTube, 100 people on Twitter, 100 people on Facebook every single day, and you will see your fan base and your audience grow significantly. Like with other artists, go on SoundCloud, check them out, retweet their music, and be like, hey man, I really like your project. I also have a project that just came out. Stuff like that. Or if it's a producer, hey man, I really like that beat. I'll definitely check you out for when I work on my next project. I have a project out now. I would appreciate your feedback. Just little things like that will definitely help generate some free traffic. Now, with paid methods of advertising, if you go on what's called the Facebook business, create a Facebook business account, you can just pay for traffic. So you can create Instagram ads and Facebook ads, and this is by far the most powerful ad platform in the world right now. If you follow Gary Vaynerchuk, he talks very strongly about Facebook ads, because Facebook also owns Instagram and WhatsApp, and they own a million different websites. It's really the most powerful um, ad platform in the world right now. I would go on YouTube, do some research on Facebook ads and Instagram ads, and figure it out, because it's really powerful, and it's not going to be around forever. So you need to take advantage of it while it's around. But the way you would a good paid advertising um, technique is to first of all have an idea of who your core audience is. So what is their age, what is their gender, what kind of things they're into, and then using that to kind of plug it into the Facebook ad platform, and they do the work. Facebook will go out there and put your content in front of people who are going to be interested in your content. So okay, so now we have content. You're posting consistently. You're generating free traffic, and you're taking all this traffic and directing it not to your social media, but to your website. The reason why we don't send traffic to our social medias is because you don't own your social media. If Instagram or Facebook was to shut down tomorrow, everything that you had on there would be completely wiped out. So think about social media more like an apartment that you're renting. You don't really own it. A website would be like your home. You own your home, you own your website. So this is why we want to send all the traffic that you possibly can to your website. And for website, I have written here, it says generate income by selling merchandise, advanced ticket sales, or by promoting paid platforms such as Twitch and YouTube. So your website is kind of like your money making machine. This is where anything that you can monetize, you're gonna monetize it. And this is where your audience knows that, hey, if Twitter was to disappear tomorrow, or if Instagram was to disappear tomorrow, I know that I can go to this artist website and all their information is going to be on there. So this is really your money making machine right here, your website. And then the next level to this is having access to your fans. So not only having them go to your website, because they could go to your website and disappear, you want to figure out strategies for once your audience comes to your website, how can I ensure that I can connect with my fan base whenever I want? So this is where collecting emails and cell phone numbers will help you have direct access with your fans. And this is invaluable. This is the key right here. This is what we're aiming for, collecting emails and cell phone numbers to have direct access with your fans. Especially if you can get cell phone numbers, this is the most powerful way to engage with your fans. This is beyond social media, beyond all that. So if someone comes to your website, they give you your cell phone number, email, now you can contact them directly at your disposal. What does this mean? If you come out with a new merchandise, guess what? One text to all your fans, and now you have all these super targeted people that are 100% invested and interested in you, that you can sell your products to, your merchandise, your ticket sales. So this is probably the most powerful thing that you want to focus on, is building up an email and an email list and a cell phone number list of your core audience. Super important. So with all that being said, I know it's a lot, but like I said, since you guys are in my program, you'll have access to me on the private chat. So if you have any questions, you can reach out. So that was we did pre-release, release, how to maximize our earnings, and now the post-release. So continuing with maximizing our earnings, let's say a couple months have passed by. What do you do now? So release singles and videos. So aside from your first single, release a follow-up single to stretch the life of your project. And just like how you do with a single, provide a music video and visuals to go along with it. Another thing you can do is plan a tour. You can reach out to performance venues and plan your own tour. Even if you don't make money, it gives you content and opportunity to gain new fans. So performing live and touring is very important. All major artists, if you ever watch interviews with major artists like Russ or Kendrick or whoever, the bulk of the money they make is from touring. And when they tour, they gain new fans, they sell merchandise, ticket sales, all that stuff. So touring is a very lucrative business, and if you're starting out, it's a great way of gaining and building your core audience. Next thing I have here is creating remixes. So collaborate with different artists and do remixes of your tracks to grow your fan base. So maybe if there's a really up and coming SoundCloud artist, collaborate with them and be like, hey, you want to get on this remix of my track? And now all of a sudden his fan base is going to check out your project, and your fan base is also going to check out this new artist. So it works both ways. You can also reach out to producers, same thing, send them your vocals and have them remix it, and it's the same concept. And then the final thing here, I have license your music. So you can license your music for TV shows, commercials, and other content creators to generate passive income. So licensing music means that you're giving someone permission to use your music. So a TV commercial, a television show, maybe a YouTuber needs background music. And what they do is they ask you for permission, you say yes, they pay you, and now you have music you're making money from your music. But the best way to do this is through TV shows, because TV shows and commercials, because you can generate what's called royalties. And that's just every single time that TV show airs, you're going to be making money. So licensing is literally making money in your sleeps. So I would investigate how to get on different music libraries and how to license your music to TV shows and commercials. It's really a great way of generating passive income. So your homework. Here I have a little chart with everything that we just kind of talked about. Artists being in the middle, and then we have timeline, we have email marketing strategy, networking in real life, momentum. So at this point, it's just up to you. Be consistent, believe in your music. I'm here to help with whatever you need. My team is here to help with whatever you need. But whatever you do, just keep at it. And guess what? With every project, you're only going to get better. You're only going to get more creative. And just keep in mind, every failure, every win, everything, all of it is all part of the process. So enjoy it. And this concludes my tutorial. Peace out.